Good evening, Mr. Martin.
Good evening, Mrs. Martin.
How are you tonight?
Yeah.
I think this was one of the most fantastic things that you have completed over the summer. And I thought you'd never get to it, but you did it in the end.
Mm.
And I found it where you bought it, and it was through Amazon, and it's the Constructed, which I think is a rip-off of Meccano.
It's
Meccano.
probably a more modern version of Meccano.
Yeah. 255 pieces.
And a lot of pain.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that, but we'll talk about some of the specs. So 255 pieces, a mixture of plastic and metal. And truth be told, it has survived a lot of damage, including the nose being used as sort of digger.
As a shovel, yeah.
Yes. So let's
It's been
begin.
sat on and thrown and bounced.
So look, I think why you got this was because it was metal, firstly, robust.
And the wheels worked.
The wheels work, so it's not one of those other models that you see around where it's rather stationary. And I think there was a lot of blood and pain involved in this, wasn't there?
Yes.
You had a lot of band-aids too.
Look, let's just say the instructions were a bit vague. And look, it's nuts and bolts screwing it together. Half of them had to be thrown out and replaced with nylon threads to keep everything together.
So there are nylon threads here. I thought you replace all the plastic with metal.
No, it's pretty much all, except for the wheels and the thrusters, the motor bits on the back. Everything else is actually metal.
Yeah, can you show? So, I mean, which part did you do first? Like, in all honesty, what was easiest? So this is the nylon.
They're all hard plastic.
Oh, okay. But I'm sure you threw, because you did have an adventure with the pop rivet, because you
The pot rivets ended up being used whole and solely because the way it was constructed, it was very flimsy in regards to its modular.
So you did the body first, obviously.
And unfortunately, I actually built the wings first.
Oh, you did. So what were the problems with the wings? So for those
The wings are actually the easiest piece.
of you who are thinking about buying this model on Amazon, what are your warnings to them? That's basically what I'm. So they don't. How many days of pain was it? 3 days of pain?
A few headaches. Look, at the end of the day, the instructions are a bit vague. And it uses probably 3 or 4 mil bolts.
Which
They're very fine. The problem is when you screw them up, by the time you get to finishing everything, the first bolt you started with has unscrewed and fallen off.
So how did you?
Pot rivets.
Yeah. So show me how many pop rivets did you use altogether?
Absolutely no idea. I just filled holes.
So which are the original and which were the add-ons here?
Wings original.
Yep.
Chassis all pot rivets. The problem is there's a lot of pressure from...
It's stainless steel, isn't it?
it's metal. I wouldn't say it's stainless. Look, it's been primed. It's been sprayed white. It was originally grey.
Okay, well that was another issue, but that's towards the end. But let's talk about the wings and then the chassis.
If you make a mistake, which I did many, the instructions don't really show you which way to put bolts or which way to do anything. They just say, they give you the pieces and a red line is drawn from the one end of the bolt through the holes you're supposed to follow, out the other side, and red arrow finishes at your nut. So it doesn't actually show how it all screws together as such.
So how did you screw it all together?
Put it together, unscrewed it, put it back together, and when you've got like the chassis piece itself, you actually can't get your fingers in there to actually...
But maybe that's you because you've got fat fingers.
Even with the spanner they give you, it's hard to do.
So what tools did you use from your own to
Put
deal
in
with
those
that?
pliers, pot rivets, my own screwdriver, because the other one was good, but it was just a pain. It was woeful. It's like IKEA.
This was IKEA type,
No, it's hype, yeah.
but my point is the metal seems a bit sturdy compared to the other wooden plane models I've seen you do. I mean, this can last more than a month with
That's
us.
why I got it.
Yeah.
Because look, it's been sprayed with just a gloss white and sealed with
I thought you primed it first.
prime, light grey, 2 coats.
2 coats.
3 coats of gloss white, 3 coats of lacquer. That's it.
And so what? It took you a day to make it dry, or
No,
what was
it took me about 4 days to paint.
Oh, okay. I didn't
'Cause it
know
was
that
very
was long.
humid.
Yeah, well, it is summer here. So overall, how long did it take you to build the body, though?
Too long.
I'll give them some figures. You know, you don't want people to be frustrated if they're.
Oh, bugger it, I know. I put it down, I go mow a lawn, I put it back, start it again, go paint something else. I give yourself a good few days.
Okay, can you turn it to the underside so we can see what the underside is? Okay, so as you can see, there's been some damage here.
Don't know why.
So the wheels are original.
The wheels are, except for I've put nylon thread bolts so they won't come undone.
Okay, it has been sat on, so you can see they're not.
The damage.
I think you can replace the wheels. In all honesty, you could probably get better ones.
No, not for this. You'd have to try and source something.
Now, what was going on with this middle section? There's a bit of was this the paint?
Which?
Like in the middle where there's a shade. Yeah.
No, that's the tyre.
No. Yeah. Why is it dark? Is it to do with the paint that you did?
No, it's a dirty, great big smudge mark.
Okay. Well, it needs to be cleaned.
It's not my plane.
And the red, this was included, yeah?
Yeah.
So on this underside, how did you manage? Because you said the body was difficult to put
The
together.
problem is it's 2 basically 2 semicircles, and you have to hold them together with one hand, screw them together with the other, and hold the next piece in together with the same hand. It's interesting.
Well, I mean, according to the instructions, it said ages 8+. You're older than 8 years old, and you had difficulty as an over 8-year-old to do this. Do you seriously think that an 8-year-old can ordinarily build this model?
What the 8-year-old would do would be to start with it and then give it to dad.
Well, or grandfather.
Yeah, basically. So it's more a case of just...
Were you pleased when you received it that it was metal?
Look, the reason why I got it was because the other smaller planes to which the younger person who uses this has really dodgy little wheels. Now, the problem was he was snapping axles off. So, this was a large plane with rolling wheels, and it was perfect. Metal, it can be dropped, which it has been multiple times. It has been sat on. It has been used as a shovel. It has been used for many other things.
The stickers come with the pack?
The stickers come with the pack.
I would have preferred the French flag. Like, you could have put the French flag on the
Yeah,
other
no, but
side.
it's British. It is British Concord.
Yeah.
All right.
Speaking of British Concord, I was speaking to somebody in Port Stephens, and they said there is a pilot there who used to fly the Concorde. I mean, what a small world it is. I mean, she saw this model and she said, hey, I know someone who used to pilot the Concorde. And you think, wow, how do they end up at Port Stephens when they never got a Concorde?
Oh, yeah, look, astronauts live in places too.
Well, I suppose so. Anyway, so overall, ease of doing this
In all
out
honesty,
of 5.
5 being the easiest,
No, 5 being
the hardest.
yeah.
Oh, I would say it would have to have been 4.5 to 5. In the end, I basically just went bugger it and just filled the holes to try and keep everything sturdy.
Yeah. And were there anything that you think they could improve on? I mean, obviously besides
The instructions,
well, the instructions are neither here nor there. I mean,
they are because they actually don't show you where to actually put the pieces properly. They just go point A to point B, but it doesn't tell you which part of point A sits over part B or part B sits over part C. You know, it's supposed to be interlocked, but there's the midsection from about the concord on, which is loose as buggery, because there's no support through here.
So that's where you put the pop rivets in.
Yeah.
So
Because that's attached. These two pieces just sitting there.
So those two were the ones that caused you the most problem.
No, this part's causing me the most problem
Yeah, why is that?
because it's got the nose and the canopy attached to it. That's it. It's unless you play with it, it's really hard to describe. But at the end of the day, look, it is a pretty cool model, and it is strong, but it does take a little bit of thinking to get around it. You probably need to be a air fitter to do it.
A what?
An air fitter,
Why?
because you need to have engineering skills.
You... Look, it said ages 8+. You know, I mean, an engineer might say, what was the problem there?
Maybe I was sober.
So overall, look, I thought, I didn't believe you when you said, 255 pieces. I thought you'd have done it in a couple of hours one afternoon, and instead 3 days later, a week later, it was still going on. I thought, how can 255 pieces cause so much pain? But in the end, I thought it was worth it. Look at that. I mean, look how damaged and used it is already.
It is flogged. It gets absolutely hammered.
So look, it's still intact, technically speaking. You know, it's still the shape of a Concorde. You know, it hasn't lost its wing nor its wheels.
No,
it's still
it
usable.
just had a lot of repairs.
Okay. Well, this was for summer 2024-2025, Mr. Martin, and I think you should be proud of this.
I know it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
Boris.
Bye.
Bye.